Hey everybody, welcome back for to kick off our final panel of the event. And we're going to talk growth through industry partnerships and, of course, workforce and the talent pipeline. Folks, please welcome Lauren Alder. She's the Workforce Development Manager at Texas Instruments. Hi, Lauren. How are you? Good to see you. Good to get to know you as well. So why don't we start off by setting the context and giving us a little background. We sort of know, or we should know, what Texas Instruments does. Tell us a little more about TI and about your role specifically.
Texas Instruments, I think a lot of people think about our only customer-facing product, especially here in education, which is a calculator. However, that is an incredibly small percentage of what we do. So we design, manufacture, and sell analog and embedded chips. And my role at TI, I've been at TI for 8 years. I started in talent acquisition, and I always had a focus on our manufacturing group. A lot of people don't realize that we actually manufacture wafers here in North Texas. And in fact, we're building in Sherman right now up to 4 new factories, with one bringing production as soon as 2025. And so I say all that to say, with the building and expansion of our factories, the hiring for those factories involves a lot of hiring in technician space. So that was my focus. I was the talent acquisition. And I was squeaky wheel who kept saying there's a problem. We need more pipeline of students. And so sometimes when you're the squeaky wheel, you're given the opportunity to solve the problem you're making about. And so that's how I came into my role today, which is in workforce development. So going a little bit deeper into the pipeline, middle school, high school, and trying to create a talent pipeline for our technician and maintenance mechanic roles at TI.
And when you're the squeaky wheel, you get stuck on stage doing stuff like this. It happens to be all the time. So before we move on, I certainly want to talk talent, pipeline, workforce development, of course. But paint the picture of the size and scale of TI. Where do you fit into the global landscape of wafer manufacturing? And talk about just the sheer size of TI.
Yeah. So we have over 100,000 customers, 80,000 products. We are a global company, 30,000 employees across the globe. We have manufacturing facilities in China, Japan, Germany, the U.S., and we have several test sites in Mexico, the U.S., Philippines, Malaysia, and China. So really in the supply chain that spans the globe. But we're a little bit unique. There are semiconductor companies that are out there that are what we call fabless semiconductor companies, and they don't manufacture the wafers. They do the design. We actually do the design and manufacture and the assembly and test of semiconductor chips.
So there are no, I promise, there are no business journal reporters here, but I'm curious. This is off the record, I guess, unless everybody does this. Share the timeline for the fab plants, Fab 1, 2, 3, 4. Because, the conversation around my circles, it's very exciting stuff. Workhorse, it's helping another region boom and blossom. Talk to me about the timeline for these plants to come online.
Yeah, so we expect to be in production in the first Sherman factory in 2025. And the second fab has been constructed. The second two, we will build ahead of demand, but we will keep an eye on that and build out faster, increase demand.
So with all of this projected growth that lines coming online, you've got to hire talent, and you specifically focus on technicians and engineers, or just technicians.
Technicians and techs for our factories. So what a lot of folks don't realize is that in our factories, there's about 2 technicians for every engineer. And so while we do still need engineers, and there are not enough, we actually have done a really good job building relationships at universities and have a big pipeline of fairs across the country. Yeah, you also have the ability to recruit engineers for other states, and a lot of people want to come to Texas, and so it's really easy to convince them to join TI. Within the technician space, the talent, I would say it is here. If they have a trainer there in the programs that are going to give them the skills to go into a semiconductor technician rep. And so we need a lot more technicians of that. There was a semiconductor, the Semiconductor Industry Association put out a report that if we don't do something about the technician talent pipeline, they're bringing me up to 26,000 jobs unfilled by 2030. So there's a really big need, and when you look at the number of students at community college pursuing relevant degree programs in Texas, it's about 2% of all degree applications are in relevant programs. So a lot of students are doing other things. And so my job is really to build awareness and excitement around the semiconductor industry and the career opportunities that there are to come into the semiconductor industry and grow, whether that means you stop at technician or you go on to engineer. My job was to really build that awareness so that there are more students pursuing programs like electronics technology, mechatronics, that build skill sets.
So the need is significant and likely growing in the next few years through 2030 and beyond. Are there any particular skills that somebody needs to get into this, or sort of they enter college and they can be trained right from the start?
There's actually an electronics technology program that was approved by the education agency last year. It is a program that can be delivered in high school and can result in obtaining a certificate, so they can come right from high school to semiconductor if they pursue that pathway. If they don't do that high school, they can go to a 2 years school, and electronics technology, mechatronics, automation and robotics programs. Those are all good fits and build skill sets. But other than that, what we see is we need students who really want to solve problems, who like to troubleshoot, who really like to tinker. And a lot of students who don't necessarily want to go on to be an engineer don't understand that they can still be in STEM. And so it's really important to reach students who aren't necessarily pursuing a future 4-year path. There are opportunities where they can work in an environment where they're working on very complex machinery, using technical skills without a 4-year degree, and which, by the way, has a really nice starting salary.
Yeah, we don't have to share the exact numbers, but so you mentioned awareness, right? And that's a significant obstacle, or it's sort of there are myths out there about working in manufacturing. It's dirty, it's unsafe, all of those things that pay very well. Dispel the myths for me. We've talked a little bit about this, and it's certainly not what we used to think of in terms of manufacturing.
Yeah, absolutely. So our firm is it's actually a clean room. So they are in a climate-controlled clean room environment. We checked to our COVID that it was the safest place you could be. And they do have to wear protective equipment. Of course, we have to protect the labor from contaminants. But they are in the clean environment. They're working on tools, a safe environment, robotics, do really complex troubleshooting work. And again, it is not a dark, dirty, dangerous environment.
So now, that conversation around advanced manufacturing is sort of, I think that myth is beginning to, or not beginning, but it has been dispelled, right? I think everybody in the room knows that advanced manufacturing is a viable and really successful career path. Talk to me about career paths. Somebody gets into this. What's their earning potential for years to come? Is it something they do for 30 years and retire? And then how can they sort of move up and grow their careers?
Yeah, absolutely. So if something comes into TI, there's a few different levels that come into TI. So we have operator roles, which requires a high school diploma, a light. There's maintenance mechanic roles, mission roles, which do require either mechanical aptitude in the case you maintenance mechanic or a certificate in the case of a technician, or you can come in with a bachelor's and into engineer. But where you come in, there are opportunities to upskill and develop, whether that means you're becoming a technical expert or you're going the management path. And in fact, because there's not a robust pipeline currently, Lee had started upskilling programs, one at Dallas College, to take employees who are in our operating bowl, put them through a program at Dallas College where they are earning their certificate so that they can go on to be a technician. Some people get into a education role and they become an expert, a second motor expert, and that's where they stayed the rest of their career. There are others who want to go on to pursue their masters to become an engineer, and there's tuition reimbursement for that as well. So there's a lot of different pathways and entry points and places that a folks can go, again, whether you want to be an engineer, a technical expert, or pursue people management path.
So now you mentioned earlier that obviously as early as high school, you're starting to interact with potential talent. You have people that you're sort of recruiting from other states, essentially. What are the other channels to recruit folks and to really grow this pipeline? Because like you said, 26,000 empty positions by 2030. There's got to be more ways to do this, right?
Absolutely. So internal upskilling is a big opportunity for us, as I mentioned. Veterans have a skill set that often is adjacent to equipment technicians who are factories, and so we have had a lot of success. We, in fact, have a program called Bill Bridget's TIADP with transitioning service members to come in and do an internship where they're gaining experience in semiconductor with the goal of receiving full to hop for the end of it. And then we have direct applicants, and so we have folks coming from other industries. Somebody might be an aircraft mechanic or an auto mechanic, or was working as, for a utilities company who wants to make a transition into semiconductor. We recruit that way as well. But it's still not enough, so there is still work to do to build programs to bring more folks into, say, better or advanced manufacturing, I should say.
Right. So now you mentioned the partnership with Dallas College and various academic institutions. Share a little about industry partnerships, because these are sort of ways to drive the talent pipeline as well, right?
Yeah. Just to clarify, purchasers of other industry partners, or?
Like the North Texas Semiconductor Institute, organizations like that are focused on what TI does, but sort of spread the word globally.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that this is not a problem that any one company or educational institution can solve. And so it does require bringing industry partners, like educational institutions together. What's really helpful is when industry partners ally on a common need and what we need to do to address that need. So in the case of semiconductor manufacturing in North Texas right now, I think most of us are agreement that we need more technician talent. And so together, can we advise on a curriculum or programs at colleges that will help build that pipeline and make sure that we're talking in good partnership with those educational institutions so that they're building the types of programs that are going to feed not just into semiconductor, but I talked to a bit about at Talent Position at Workforce Development, but we said a variety of other companies across industries, and they all need the same skill set. And so when we can come together and have a consistent message so that colleges build the right programs to address the workforce needs, I think that collaboration is incredibly helpful.
So, Claude, thank you. Now I'm going to open it up for questions from the audience, but before I get to that, talk to me a little bit of forward-looking with TI. What does the future hold? Obviously, the fab plants are coming online. In terms of just economic impact in North Texas, share a little bit about what the next few years hold.
Yeah, so in the next 10 to 15 years, there will be about 2,000 new jobs created in North Texas for just TI. And so, that's a big number, but then you think about, Coherent and Sherman recently announced the expansion. Global Wafers is building in Sherman, Texas. There's a lot of different companies who are building manufacturing facilities, and so the opportunities are enormous. And my fear is that we're not going to be able to fill those jobs. As a talent acquisition specialist, I was traveling to Arkansas, but Hunger create talent. And I believe that we do that. I think we could build the talent here to fill these.
Yeah, I mean, there certainly is a lot of talent in the state of Texas. Any questions from the audience? Anything that's a burning curiosity that you'll have? Not yet?
Yeah. How do you see the surrounding areas feeding into Sherman? I know it's a bit out of the way for a lot of people, and working with Dallas College, there are a lot of students who might be interested in something like that or might not want to relocate. Are you doing anything to work with transportation or anything to make that an easier transition for students?
Yeah, so we anyone coming into TI as an entry-level technician does receive a relocation bonus. And so if they want to relocate from another area of Texas, as long as they're 50 miles or more from that site, we do offer relocation assistance to big up the ability to, move to that area to pursue a job in Sherman.
I'll just add too. We write about. I feel like I'm a TI guy because we write about all the things going on in that area. We just wrote something about how there is. I think it's called Legacy Hills, like residential in that area. Obviously, with the plants coming online, it's driving all kinds of economic development in terms of residential, peripheral industry, all of those supporters. So likely. It's a good thing, but it also, you're going to compete for talent that's on some level with your own suppliers, right?
So,
anybody else? Laura, anything else you want to share about sort of that I'm always curious from a generic business standpoint in terms of economic development, what that plant needs for that region, right? Sort of up and down the 75 corridor all the way down to Richardson.
I think when you think about the jobs created, it's not just TI, but it's all the adjacent our suppliers that will be the workforce to support those factories as well. And so, it means more jobs, but also other industries it will be built to help support, the businesses that are in the area. So I think that.
Absolutely. Now, for such a large organization, you started under this really high-level entrepreneurial spirit, big partnerships with UT Dallas, of course, Dallas College. Talk to me about sort of maintaining that entrepreneurial spirit at a very large level. I mean, it's difficult sometimes to run an organization that size.
Yeah, it is. But I do think that, that is the spirit of TI. And in fact, my team workforce development kind of was created in that vein. So, UT Dallas started this graduate research center because our founders saw indeed, and we had employees pursuing education in other states, and that you're referring from elsewhere. So they started the graduate research center was living at UT Dallas, and just my own personal story. TI, I think, is an example of that. I saw a problem, and they gave me the ability to go pursue partnerships and really start going a little bit deeper into the pipeline, so that we could help support a workforce to feed into our veins. So I think it continues. Anytime there's a problem, we kind of say, okay, we need to be part of the solution and fix that, whether it means pursuing key in partnerships or leveraging our existing ones to do something new.
Absolutely. Now, last thing I have business community, how do we interact with TI? How do we help TI and vice versa? How can we sort of participate in all the rapid growth that's happening?
Yeah, I think you were some little Texan Semiconductor Institute consortiums where we can spread over their companies as a big part of it, but also there's the manufacturing industry in general, and so making sure that we're staying connected to other industries who have similar needs. So there's the infrastructure, Texas seeks support. I think that anytime there's a chance to cooperate or just send out talk about our needs, we're all giving the same message to our educational partners. I think that's where we can really hug it and make sure that everybody's giving this message.
Awesome. Industry orgs, I see Paul Nayerson right here, the Dallas County manufacturers. So certainly you get plugged in with all of these different organizations in the community. You're welcome, Paul. Folks, Lauren, thank you for joining me today. Really, really appreciate the insight. Let's give Paul.